I'm going to show you a printmaking technique using Styrofoam and washable markers, and it allows you to make a printing plate that then you can add color to with the markers and print onto paper. So this is a printing plate that is already complete, and you can see where I had added the color, and you can see what it looks like when I printed it down onto the paper. Notice how my name printed the right way. When I drew into my printing plate, I had to write the letters backwards so that it printed forwards. So I'm going to show you how to get started. You are going to need a piece of styrofoam from the printmaking studio, a pencil from the caddy at your table, and these pens live in the printmaking studio also. So I'm going to get started, and I'm just going to draw some lines and shapes to fill this space. The more lines and shapes I have, the more interesting my print will be. If I just have something small in the middle, then there's going to be a lot of solid areas with no lines. But everywhere that I draw a line is going to print as a white line. So see, that line is the line that goes into the styrofoam. It prints as a white line. So I'm just going to start maybe with a square. I don't know what this is going to look like in the end, but that square is going to give me an idea for something else I'd like to draw, and I'm going to keep going. Now that I've drawn everything with a pencil, I want to go back over my lines with a pen just to make sure that these grooves are deep enough so that my print turns out nice. So I'm going to draw over everything with the pen. Am I finished? Do you see any spots that I have forgotten to go over? There's a couple. How about any more now? Yep. And that one I can do a little bit more. All right, now I am ready to add the color with the washable marker. When you go to the drawing studio to get your markers, it's super important that you find the ones with the bubbles because they are washable. This is a beautiful turquoise, and I wish I was able to use it because it would look stunning in my print, but it is not washable. So I could color with it, but it wouldn't ever print onto my paper. So just get the colors that have the bubbles because that will work well for your print. So I'm going to start adding some color, and I'm going to start at the top, and everywhere that it's white, I want to put a color on top, covering up all the white with colors. You could just color this whole thing with one color. It would work. It's going to look more interesting if you add different colors to make patterns or whatever kind of design that you would like with the colors. So I'm going to just continue going with my washable markers. Okay, I think I'm going to leave these spots white so that you can see what they look like when I print them. So I have finished adding color to my printing plate. If it was time to clean up and I didn't have time to print this today, I could just put it into my portfolio and print it next week. That would be totally fine. But if I do have time to print, I'm going to go get a paper towel and I'm going to get it really wet and I'm going to squeeze out the extra water into the sink. So this is wet, but it's not dripping. I'm not going to make a lake on my printing paper. And then I'm going to get a piece of paper to make my print on. I'm going to lay it down on my spot, and I'm going to use the wet paper towel, holding my paper steady. I'm going to wipe away from me. I'm getting my paper really wet. You might be wondering why I am doing this. Think about the fact that I got my printing plate covered with washable marker, and now I'm wiping my printing paper with water. What do you think is going to happen when I lay my printing paper onto this wet surface? Well, you're going to see in a second. So now I'm going to flip this upside down onto my printing paper. You can see that I've recycled the styrofoam that somebody started to use. And I want to find a printing assistant, a printmaking assistant nearby who can come and help hold down the corners of my printing plate. So Miss A, would you be willing to be my printmaking assistant? And maybe put one hand right there. Thank you. Do you see how hard she's pushing down? You can see the white in her fingers. She's pushing down so super hard so it doesn't slide on my paper. And now I am going to rub in circles to make sure that my printing plate, every part of it presses down into the paper. So all those beautiful colors that I added will get printed onto the paper. So I'm rubbing everywhere. And if I didn't have a printing assistant, this might be sliding a lot. So I'm very appreciative of having somebody help me. I'm gonna sneak a little tiny peek. Oh, I think it's looking beautiful. And now I am ready. This is the most exciting part. I'm gonna lift up my printing plate and see my print. Wow! Okay, so some parts I'm really excited about. Other parts look a little bit less colorful. So I can ask myself, I can get curious, well, why didn't this area come out as nicely as this area? What do you think might have happened? Maybe I didn't have enough marker added, or maybe I didn't rub hard enough in these spots. There could be several reasons. But this is my first print. Because I still have my printing plate, I can make many other prints of this design. I just need to add more color to the printing plate. So I'm going to keep this printing plate in my portfolio so that I can try again with another print next time. This print, I'm going to want to make sure I sign it with my name. And if it's still very wet, I should put it on the drying rack. And if it's dry, it can go in my portfolio. And eventually we can take a picture of it for Artsonia. When it's dry, you could go back in with markers and fill in any of these spots that didn't show up very dark. Or you could paint into it or use colored pencils or anything to add in any details to your print. Have fun experimenting with this new printmaking technique.